Michael Popok, Legal AF, Vice President Kamala Harris, and the Senate Democrats are leaving no stone unturned in their attempt to reverse the decision by the United States Supreme Court to grant absolute immunity or immunity with at least a presumptive immunity for anyone who occupies the Oval Office for criminal conduct. That's the result of the July 1st decision by the United States Supreme Court in Trump versus the U.S., which effectively gave anyone who occupies that office, including somebody named Donald Trump, immunity, different levels of immunity we'll talk about on this hot take, but immunity for criminal conduct while he happened to also be president of the United States, except in some narrow categories of obvious, we hope, private conduct having nothing to do with the office. Chuck Schumer, Senate Majority Leader for the Democrats, and supported by Kamala Harris as part of her platform, if you will, for becoming elected president of the United States, supports the No Kings Act. It's what it sounds like. We don't have kings in this country. We are a law and a society of law, not men. We are a society where no one is above the law. We say that. Everybody gives lip service to it, including Chief Justice Roberts in his decision back in July in one line. But you got to walk the walk and talk the talk. And that's what Chuck Schumer's doing. He's going to put it up for Senate debate to see who's against voting for a king. In other words, anyone that votes for something called the No Kings Act and votes, I vote no on the No Kings Act. I like kings. You like people above the law? And in what it's going to do is address certain observations that are now law in the 6-3 decision by the United States Supreme Court in July, in which established this, for the first time ever, immunity from criminal prosecution of a president, former or current occupant. And what it says is, yes, no person is above the law. The criminal laws to be applied to the president are to be determined by Congress, not by courts. And they, in this No Kings Act, are applying all criminal law on the books to somebody who happens to also be the president of the United States at the time. And that is one way the Democrats are addressing. It's basically a multi-pronged attack on that to try to reverse the impact and effects of the July 1st decision. First, you get something like the No Kings Act passed. But for that, you need to have the will of the people as expressed through Congress, which is another incentive for people to vote blue on November the 5th so that the Congress is fully in the hands of the Democrats. And then they can get this law on the books and pass with a supermajority, and we're off and running. That's one thing. Constitutional amendments are very, very interesting, but very, very hard to get passed, needing 2/3 of the states and 2/3 of Congress to approve. This is not going to happen, even though some of the things that are being proposed about constitutional amendments are good for us to discuss as a people. But what can we do right now? Things like what Chuck Schumer is doing and Kamala Harris is supporting to get laws on the books that make it clear that the president is not above the law. We can't rely on lip service anymore. We can't rely on the United States Supreme Court to be the last firewall to protect our democracy. We have to have, apparently, the only adult in the room looks like it's going to be the president if Kamala Harris takes the oath, and Senate Democrats. Everything else, is sort of up for grabs. So what are the chances of the No Kings Act passing? Right now, in this session of Congress, low. The Senate might pass it, but you're going to have something like this also, I would believe, approved by the House. And that's not going to happen. I think it's important that the Senate approve it. I think it's important that even if it's on party line vote, which it's going to be, it's important that the Republicans be put to the vote and that it become a debate topic between Vice President Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Where do you stand, sir? How dare you, sir? You've already been a convicted criminal. There's only one criminal on this stage, sir, and it's not me. And then have him, this will help tie up and give Kamala Harris a very easy pivot point in making her closing argument to the American people whenever she's side by side Donald Trump, or when she's not, and she's out on the campaign trail, making her argument for why she deserves to be the president of the United States. First time in our history, a woman elected president. Hard to believe that I have to say those words in 2024, but now is the time to finally break that final glass ceiling and make a woman president. This woman president, Kamala Harris. It's hot outside, and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather. So you get better sleep every night. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands, and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code LegalAF at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf and use the code LegalAF to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/legalaf to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. Now, I love what Chuck Schumer's doing because it's a win-win-win. We'd love to get it passed, but even if it doesn't get passed, the Republicans are going to have to take a position on it. And if they vote no, then that kind of vote is going to be used against them in their home territories by their opponent. Oh, you voted against the No Kings Act? You're in favor of kings. You're in favor of people above the law. That's what your vote says, as recorded in the congressional record. So from a down-ballot perspective, this is very, very effective politics. If you vote yes, you help pass it. If you vote no, your own electoral possibilities and potential is in jeopardy. That's one. 2, it gives Kamala Harris a very good soapbox to get up on and a pivot point when she's counterpunching Donald Trump. And as I said, either side by side in an eventual debate where she gets to be and have the moral high ground of being a prosecutor, being a vice president, being a senator, being an attorney general against Donald Trump. And make him take a position on the No Kings Act. Because what's he going to say? I'm not a king, but I get full immunity for everything that I did. I believe in the United States Supreme Court. Anything he says is going to be used against him in the court of public opinion. Right? So I like this proposed amendment for all of these reasons. It's smart. It's right. It's morally and legally correct. And it goes to the heart of the matter that the United States Supreme Court gave us. I mean, this is the hand that we've been dealt as a constitutional republic and as Democrats. We have to figure out now how to use that hand to our advantage in a political campaign that's going to go by lightning fast. Lightning fast. Sounds like a lot. Oh, there's 90 plus days or whatever it is to the election. Less than 100. That goes by so quick. Sometime this week, we're going to get a vice presidential pick by Kamala Harris. She's going to demonstrate to the world her judgment by who she picks. People are going to nod their head in an affirmative way when she shows leadership, when she shows judgment. There's only 2 major, besides having a body of work from a lifetime of public service like Kamala Harris, that you can evaluate. Attorney General, prosecutor, state prosecutor before that, senator, vice president, entire body of work in the public eye since she's been in her 30s, last 30 years. But the other major thing that you judge a presidential candidate on about their ability to be the president is A, who they pick for vice president, and B, how they run their campaign, right? The Harris Campaign Incorporated, where she is the CEO and the chairman of the board and the COO. So you look at that, and how is she doing 2 weeks in? Fantastic. If she was in corporate America, you'd sign her to a 10 or 20-year contract already and give her a bonus. That's how well she's doing. $200 million in the bank. Not a one false step. Amazing counterpunching abilities. Amazing harnessing of social media and of modern election techniques and campaigning techniques to use against Donald Trump in real time, in nanoseconds that are required under this news cycle. So you judge her on that because she's the head of her own campaign. And the second thing you judge her on is who she picks for vice president. Now, there's going to be some disappointed people. She's got 4 major candidates. A couple have already dropped out. It's going to be a white governor. There's a couple of other people she's considering, but I would be shocked if it's not a white governor. And she's got various relationships with these white governors. Some of them are attorney generals or have been attorney generals like she was, or she's got a relationship with them. All of them have an amazing body of work. All of them are reliable number 2s for her and will demonstrate her judgment. Pardon me. That's another way you judge a vice president. And then, of course, how she does against Donald Trump whenever she's side by side with him. A couple of times, maybe they'll cram a couple of debates in, but otherwise how she responds on the campaign trail. While she continues to do her job as vice president of the United States, as a co-leader, as a partner with Joe Biden for the remaining 6 months. They just got a 13-person prisoner exchange arranged through their NATO relationships that freed 3 American journalists that had been facing a lifetime in gulags in Russia. Things that Donald Trump said, elect me, I'll get them out. And we don't need you. We don't need you to end wars. We don't need you and your cockamamie weird diplomacy and attacking of our allies instead of our enemies. We're going to continue to follow everything about Kamala Harris, everything about the Democratic response to the United States Supreme Court, including reforming the United States Supreme Court, adding new people to it, and having term limits, only on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. Our podcast on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We sit at the intersection of law and politics, so you don't have to. We curate the top 4 or 5 stories like this one. Wednesdays, I do it with Karen Friedman Agnifilo. Saturdays with Ben Meiselas. And then on hot takes like this about every hour on the MeidasTouch Network. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting. Heary, heary, Legal AF Law Breakdown is now in session. Go beyond the headlines and get a deep dive into the important legal concepts you need to know and we discuss every day on Legal AF. Exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, all for the price of a couple of cups of coffee. Join us at patreon.com/legalaf. That's patreon.com/legalaf.